The Jordan Show on YouTube.
Welcome back, everyone. Ready to dive into something pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Today, we're going deep beneath the surface, literally, into the soil microbiome.
That's right.
I've got a stack of research here.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, it's incredible stuff.
Yeah.
You know how we're all fascinated with the human gut microbiome? Mm-hmm. Well, think of the soil as like a planet-sized gut,
Wow.
teeming with billions upon billions of bacteria, fungi, all these microorganisms, creating this intricate, just incredible web of life.
Yeah, it's really quite amazing.
So today we're uncovering why this hidden world, this soil microbiome, matters so much.
Yes.
How it connects to everything, the food we eat, even the fight against climate change.
It's all connected.
We're going to explore how it all works, the amazing things it does.
Yeah,
And most importantly, what we can do to support it.
it's important stuff.
So, first things first. What exactly is the soil microbiome? And why should we care?
Well, it's easy to think of soil as just dirt,
Right.
but it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly complex ecosystem just teeming with life.
Okay.
Just like our gut is home to trillions of bacteria, the soil has billions of microorganisms per teaspoon.
Really?
Billions, yeah.
Wow.
It's just a mind-boggling number, isn't it?
That is hard to fathom.
But these microbes, they're not just hanging out down there, you know?
Right.
They actually play these really vital roles.
Like what?
Breaking down organic matter,
Okay.
recycling nutrients, building soil structure, even fighting off harmful pathogens.
So they're kind of like the unsung heroes of the planet, aren't they?
They really are.
Working behind the scenes,
Yeah,
keeping everything running smoothly.
that's a great way to put it.
So it's almost like a whole city operating beneath our feet,
It is.
with all these different microbes, each playing a different role.
Exactly, yeah. And just like a city needs all those different industries and workers to function,
Right.
a healthy soil microbiome relies on a huge diversity of species.
Diversity, that's what we keep hearing, right?
So important.
And each microbe, you see, they have their own specialty.
Okay.
Some are really good at breaking down those tough plant fibers.
Yeah.
Others are really great at, say, converting nitrogen from the air into a form that plants can actually use.
Oh, interesting.
So it's that diversity. That's what makes the soil microbiome so resilient
Right.
and able to adapt to changing conditions.
Okay, so that makes sense.
So when one type of microbe struggles, others can step in and pick up the slack.
Like a well-oiled machine.
Oh.
Now, I've been reading a lot about this fascinating partnership between plant roots and fungi.
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
You're talking about mycorrhizal fungi,
Yes.
and they are a prime example of the incredible symbiotic relationships that are happening down there in the soil.
So what's going on?
So these fungi, they form a network, like these tiny threads, that extend far beyond the plant's roots.
Okay.
And it increases their reach, helping them access water and nutrients they couldn't get on their own. So almost like an extension of the plant's own root system.
Exactly. Yes.
Uh-huh.
And in return for that service, the plant provides those fungi with sugars produced during photosynthesis.
Okay.
So it's a mutually beneficial partnership,
Right.
been going on for millions of years.
That's incredible. It really just highlights, I think, how interconnected everything is in nature.
Everything is connected.
But it also kind of makes you realize how fragile this system can be. What are some of the threats to the soil microbiome? Especially when we think about modern agriculture and the way we do things.
Well, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there are quite a few.
Like what?
The overuse of chemical fertilizers and pesticides,
Okay.
those can really disrupt the delicate balance of the soil microbiome.
How so?
Well, they kill off those beneficial microbes
Okay.
and create conditions that actually favor the harmful ones.
Oh, so it's like a double whammy.
Exactly, yeah. And then you've got these intensive tillage practices, plowing and turning over the soil repeatedly,
Right.
that disrupts the soil structure and the habitat of these microbes.
So it's like constantly bulldozing a city.
It is, yeah.
It's hard for anything to thrive in those conditions.
It really is.
So we're essentially undermining the very foundation of healthy soil with some of these practices.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's true. But there is good news.
Okay.
There's a growing movement towards more sustainable agricultural practices that recognize the importance of this soil microbiome.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
So that leads us perfectly to regenerative agriculture.
Yes.
Something that we'll be digging into a lot deeper in our next part of this deep dive.
Absolutely. Regenerative agriculture, it offers such a hopeful path forward, I think.
Okay, good.
It's all about working with nature, not against it,
Right.
to rebuild that soil health.
Okay.
And create more resilient, sustainable food systems for everyone.
Awesome. Can't wait to talk about that more.
Me too.
You know, before we started this whole deep dive, I really thought I knew a thing or two about soil health. But wow, there is just so much more to it than I ever even realized.
It's true. It's truly a hidden world, you know? And we're only just beginning to understand how complex it is and how important.
Yeah, and what's really cool is that we're starting to see how crucial the soil microbiome is for tackling these huge challenges facing humanity,
Absolutely.
like climate change,
Yeah.
food security, all of that.
It's all connected.
So how does the soil microbiome connect to these global issues?
Well, let's start with climate change. You know, we all know that excess carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is a major driver of global warming.
Right.
But what a lot of people don't realize is that soil can actually act as this massive carbon sink.
Which means,
It can store these huge amounts of carbon underground. And guess who plays a key role in this whole process? Our tiny microbial friends. Yeah, they help to convert plant matter into stable forms of carbon
Right.
that can then remain locked in the soil for centuries. So effectively removing CO2 from the atmosphere.
so a healthy soil microbiome, it's almost like a natural carbon capture technology.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. And this is where regenerative agriculture comes in.
Okay.
By adopting practices that support the soil microbiome,
Like what?
reducing tillage, using cover crops, diversifying those crop rotations, you know.
Yeah.
We can enhance the soil's ability to store carbon and really help mitigate climate change.
So by taking care of the soil, we're also taking care of the planet.
Precisely. And it's not just about climate change either.
What else?
A healthy soil microbiome is also super crucial for food security.
Okay, how so?
Well, as the global population continues to grow, we need to produce more food on less land.
Right.
And we have to do it sustainably.
Because if we keep degrading the soil with these intensive farming practices, we're just shooting ourselves in the foot.
Exactly. A thriving soil microbiome helps plants to access nutrients more efficiently, improves water retention, makes those crops more resistant to pests and diseases.
Okay.
All these factors contribute to increased yields and more resilient food systems.
So it's a win-win.
Exactly.
Healthier food and a healthier planet.
And there's another really fascinating aspect to this whole story.
Okay, tell me.
The connection between the soil microbiome and human health.
Wait, really? You're saying what's happening beneath our feet
Yeah.
can impact our own well-being?
There's growing evidence to suggest that's the case.
Wow.
Remember how we talked about the parallels between the soil and the gut microbiomes?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that a healthy soil microbiome can actually influence the diversity and the composition of our own gut bacteria.
Okay, hold on. That's blowing my mind.
There.
How does that even work?
Well, when we eat plants that are grown in healthy soil, those plants carry a wider variety of microbes and beneficial compounds. That can then enrich our own gut microbiome, leading to improved digestion, immune function, overall health, you know?
So it's like this chain reaction.
Yeah. It's all connected.
Healthy soil, healthier plants, healthier people.
Exactly. And this highlights how important it is not only to adopt those regenerative agricultural practices,
Right.
but also to support local farms, eat a diverse diet, rich in fruits and vegetables and whole grains.
So there's really a lot we can gain by taking care of the soil microbiome.
Absolutely.
It's a win for the planet, a win for our food system, and a win for our health.
Absolutely. And what's so encouraging is that there is a growing awareness of this.
Yeah.
More and more farmers are transitioning to regenerative practices. Scientists are developing innovative solutions to enhance soil health.
Okay, good.
Consumers are demanding more sustainable and nutritious food.
So it feels like we're at the beginning of this real paradigm shift
I think so.
in how we see and interact with the soil.
I believe we are. And that's what makes this field so exciting. There's a sense of hope and possibility that we can work with nature to create a healthier and more sustainable future for everyone.
This has been incredibly eye-opening. And honestly, I'm so eager to learn more about those specific innovations and solutions that are emerging.
Me too. And I think that's what we're going to talk about next. We're going to explore some of the cutting edge science and the inspiring stories of those who are really leading the way towards a soil centered future.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the soil microbiome. You know, I'm feeling pretty inspired after that last segment.
Me too.
It's amazing to think about the potential of regenerative agriculture, right?
Yeah.
To address all of these global challenges we're facing.
Absolutely. And what's even more exciting is that there's so much innovation happening.
Okay, tell me about that.
You know, scientists are constantly uncovering these new insights about the soil microbiome, and they're developing these cutting-edge solutions
Okay.
to enhance its health.
I'm all ears.
Yeah.
What are some of these innovations? What's giving you hope for the future of the soil?
Well, one area that's really taking off is the development of microbial inoculants.
What's that?
These are essentially like probiotics for the soil.
Okay.
Carefully selected mixtures of beneficial microbes
Okay.
that can be introduced into the soil
Right.
to boost its health and its function.
So almost like giving the soil a targeted dose of good bacteria.
Exactly. Yeah.
Interesting.
And these inoculants, they can be tailored to specific soil types
Okay.
and crop needs.
So it's really customized.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Some are designed to, say, enhance nutrient uptake. Others promote disease resistance.
Interesting.
Still, others help to break down pollutants in contaminated soils.
Oh, wow. So we can really target very specific problems with this.
Exactly. We're learning to harness the power of these microbes to solve those problems.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And another really groundbreaking development is the use of DNA sequencing
Okay.
to actually analyze the soil microbiome.
Oh.
This technology allows us to identify all the different species of microbes that are present in the soil
Right.
and understand their roles in the ecosystem.
So it's like taking a census
It is, yes.
of the soil's microbial community.
Precisely. And with that information, farmers can make more informed decisions
Well, okay.
about how to manage their land.
Right.
They can identify which microbes might be missing or underrepresented,
Okay.
and then adjust their practices
Got it.
to promote their growth.
So it's like personalized medicine
I love that.
for the soil.
Personalized medicine for the soil.
But you know, it's not just about these high-tech solutions, right?
No, not at all.
You got those more traditional practices
Yeah.
like composting,
Absolutely.
cover cropping.
Yeah, those have been used for centuries.
Right.
And they're still incredibly relevant today.
Why is that?
Well, composting adds that organic matter to the soil,
Right.
which provides food for the microbes.
Right, right.
Cover crops help prevent erosion and improve that soil structure.
Oh, okay.
So it's about integrating those time-tested methods
Yeah.
with these latest scientific advancements.
So a best of both worlds approach.
Yeah, create a holistic approach to soil management.
I like it.
Yeah.
It sounds like we're moving towards this more symbiotic relationship with the soil. Recognizing its importance, right?
Yeah.
Working with nature to support its health.
I believe we are. And that's what gives me so much hope for the future, you know?
Yeah.
We have the knowledge, the tools, and a growing awareness to make a real difference in the health of our soils and ultimately our planet.
This deep dive has been amazing,
It has.
I have to say. I feel like I've gained a whole new appreciation for the hidden world beneath our feet.
Yeah,
Or just how crucial it is to everything.
it is. It really is.
Yeah, and I hope our listeners feel the same way. You know?
Yeah.
The soil microbiome, it may be out of sight, but it's certainly not out of mind.
That's a good way to put it.
Well said. I want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the soil microbiome.
Thank you for having me.
It's been great.
It's been a pleasure.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. We hope you've learned something new today
We hope so.
and that you'll join us again for our next deep dive. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep digging deeper into the wonders of the natural world.
That's it.